Wendy, it was 9:13, 9:19 that we came out.
Thank you.
All right, I will put my motion back on the floor that they
Yeah.
sponsor the $500 towards the catcher's equipment and glove, and I'm in.
Right, and so you're in or out? Okay. Okay, so there's
Six.
the six, Counselor Salmon, no, okay. All in favor? It's carried. Moving on to notice of upcoming meetings, July 8th and July 22nd. However, there's been some discussion about July 22nd about canceling that one. Councillor Wakel.
Move that we cancel the July 22nd meeting as administration will not be available for the meeting.
Right. Any discussion on this? All in favor? Oh, you,
Well, we used to do both months, July and August, one meeting. Are we gonna do them both? or-
We will see you know what, we can see what the schedule looks like. And if we need to, if we can cancel a meeting in August, and ultimately if we cancel a meeting in August, we need one, the mayor has the ability to just call one.
but we've often just done one over the summer, not both months. But we
I'm
can
confused.
do more if we need it, but our agendas have been pretty busy to try and cancel more than one. I think we'd be hard pressed getting everything done. But we got a motion on the floor to cancel the July 22nd meeting. Any other discussion?
Make sure Chris knows.
Yeah, all in favor? Okay, it's carried. Moving on to our written and verbal reports. Councillor Daneka.
Since we didn't get to it the prior meeting, the June 5th was the quarterly FRAC meeting, Forest Resource Advisory Council. They had Patty Campbell from the Boreal Bird Observatory. Just a quick synopsis, the spring bird count was from April to June, 13,000 birds were observed. With yellow-bellied loon, not seen since 2001. They observed the second turkey vulture. There was a new species, usually it's found in Argentina. Can't read my writing. It's a Hudsonian godwit. Banding numbers were lower this year. The annual bird watching day, 107 species in 24 hours. They are releasing their 30-year data from 1995 to 2024. 243 bird species were identified, 2,690,000 birds were observed. They also are putting up what they call a MODIS tower that's going to be installed, and it will track migration routes. As well, Slave Lake wildfire update. At the time, there were 111 fires, 312,176.9 hectares were burnt. 10 caterpillars are in process. And oh, yes, okay. Summer hall updates. Sweat House, Swan Hills, that is the West Fraser, Lubicon, September to October. They are taking advantage of FRIA for the beyond normal expenses due to still salvaging some of the fire. Kills, Miller Western, Slave Lake and White Court are apparently shut down as, thanks to Trump and his tariffs. Yeah, most of their product went to China, but fortunately, China is not buying pulp at this moment in the volume that they were, but they are exploring markets in Europe and Korea. Togo will be starting mid-July, their summer haul. There'll be Salt Prairie, Snipe Lake, winter haul will be, White Mud. They're looking at, can't remember which one of their mills was doing value added, product, basically a termite resistant wood. And then with the Slave Lake watershed, they were testing the water quality, land use stewardship. June 19th, they will be beginning to test the Swan River for its health. Other than that, that was the only meeting I had besides the same meetings that everybody else was at, the museum meeting, the budget forum. And unfortunately, I missed the crime one yesterday, but I moved my verbal report for information.
All right, any questions, comments for Councillor Danaka? Councillor Stenhouse, go ahead.
What meeting were you at that they're counting birds and caterpillars?
It's the FRIA meeting, the FRAC, the Forest Resource Advisory Council. They have the bird observatory, the person from the Boreal Bird Observatory give a presentation. Then they have the different.
Yeah, but on our committees, what committee is that?
Forest
Forest Resource Advisory Committee.
They only usually meet once a year.
They meet quarterly.
Well, they've been meeting quarterly now? Oh,
That's not the CN.
No.
Feedback.
That's not the same.
because her mic's
Oh. Oh, okay. Have you met with those railroad people?
No, I haven't.
What railroad people?
That's mine.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. Good.
okay. And a motion to receive a report for information, all in favor? It's carried. Okay, moving on, Councillor Dunn.
I attended the ICF meeting. Lots of, for me, it was good. It was good to see the county and the town working together. I guess for me, the most interesting thing is because I've been involved for the past 4 years with waste management, and just to see how the town and the county are working together to bring that away from an association to what's the word now? Anyway, yeah. And so then I also attended the sports, the recreation meeting on behalf of James. And that was the biggest question that they had. Why are you here? Just joking. So, and what else? Yeah, then just our regular meetings and stuff. So, yeah, I did mostly a lot of listening at the rec meeting, and it was a good learning experience. I will quit now because I got to talk and you guys didn't last time. So, go ahead. Oh, sorry. I move the council receive my verbal report for information.
Okay, thank you for that. Any questions or comments for Councillor Dunn? All in favor? Carried. Councillor Martins.
And four things. So we just completed our AGM for the watershed. That was on the 19th. There's one new board member. We're still looking for a member at large. and the executive stayed the same. We first time had a keynote speaker. He actually was very cool. Right here in Peace River, this is first in Alberta. People from other provinces, other parts of the world have come to look at our peatland restoration. So you know those abandoned oil well sites? What they've done is they've taken a donor site for peat moss and restored it in over a year. He's had really successful results, and he's also showed. I saw him in a different session, but at this one, he talked about the local, it's right here by Slave Lake. So if anyone's interested in going, it's really cool how we can restore those brown fields, those ugly little pads. And he talked about the importance of peat moss and the different layers and so forth, and how you can actually plant trees, over a certain, we call it a mound. There's a whole process. So he's pioneering. This is local right here in our region. The other thing he showed pictures of is that we don't consider, he showed aerial photos of if there's a road or a cut line. He shows the difference of the topography and the flora and fauna on one side versus the other. We don't understand the impacts, but those visuals were really telling as to the impact. We build a road through a marsh or a wetland or a country area, and we don't realize the impacts. So big. He was, I think he's doctorate candidate at U of A. Really cool presentation. From the previous April attraction retention committee, there were two things that were taken to that meeting. One, the mayor had sent a advert out for International Welcoming Day. It was in September sometime. I did take it to that committee. The committee felt that international individuals are not only present in Alberta Health Services, so they suggested that the town do something because we have a lot of foreign workers in other industries, not just healthcare. So that's coming back here. Secondly, because of the recognition and gratitude that we have to our frontline workers, they want to do a barbecue on August 14th. And the committee would like to know if this council would be available, I think between the hours of 11 and 1 on August 14th, to be present at the AHS campus here in town to serve the existing staff. So that date is what I'm throwing out, August 14th. And the September International Welcoming Day, if we're interested as a town council to do something for that. Next, I attended the PCA Leadership and Stakeholder Engagement. That was yesterday. Was it yesterday? It was in track. I think it was yesterday. They talked about, the county CEO was there, our RPAC representative was there. I recognized a couple of other councillors and mayors. They talked about how locums are being favored versus, and how we're going to remediate that versus having doctors, setting roots in our communities. That was one of the concerns. The PCA leadership talked about the concept of team care and how, frontline staff, one of the concerns that was brought up was no one's going to lose jobs. They're not looking to reduce the workforce. They can't talk about administrative personnel yet, but certainly frontline staff aren't being impacted. They are expanding a medical school in Grand Prairie, which was news to me. I didn't know that. Talked about determinants of health, and they were really excited to not be the little kids anymore, that they have the same weight at the table within the 4 agencies. Anyway, there's a survey. I can share the link if anyone's interested. And finally, the 4th item was that I had my May 13th, I had a written report, and it used to sit here and I don't know where it is, but Wendy, I don't know if I said it was my economic development report from the event. I didn't share that with, I was hoping to make copies here and share that with all the council, but I sent it out to the economic development team, just sharing my report with them. This was months ago. I don't even know where it is. It used to sit here, but I'll find it and send it to you. And maybe you can just pass it along to council or to the CAO.
It was attached to
Another one?
it was attached to the final minutes
Okay.
of, I think it was back in April. I think it was the end of April.
I didn't do it until May, but I don't know if it's the same one.
Okay.
It's the one I did in April, but I didn't do it until sort of May. But we'll, if it's the same one, if you already done, great. If not, I'll send it to you.
Sounds good.
That's it, guys. I'm happy to take questions. Otherwise, I'll pass the report, for information.
Anything for Council Martins? All in favor? For myself, well, since we last year, there's been a ton of meetings. I'll go really quickly through them. We had that intermunicipal meeting and basically it was to review the ICF agreement. We went through more of the different departments that we share, the different resources, went through those. Talked about some of them, and then they're gonna be getting revised, and once we get through it, it'll come back to the councils and stuff to review. There was that joint economic development committee meeting that we talked about, where with the county, talked about trying to get together, get that group was going to come up with terms of reference and for that committee, what it would do. So that's basically what they did. They also had that some discussions on what we could be doing and what we might do to work together, but nothing really concrete. I took some, attended the NLC convocation and went to the St. Andrews graduation. As many of us did, we had that meeting with the Minister of Municipal Affairs, Minister Williams. Talked about some of our issues with him. We had the Slave Lake Regional Tourism Group is trying to find a name. They had a meeting and there's and then they're revising their bylaws to accommodate the new group because they were functioning as the Slave Lake Tourism Group, but now it's going to be the whatever the name is and much more members and a broader membership. So the bylaws were being reviewed and they meet again on Thursday. Met with ANCA and we had a meeting with Ron Weeb, who is at the he's the MLA from Grand Prairie and he's working with health. And so we got to discuss health issues from around our region. So it was a good chance to get him. And then later on, like a week later, he was traveling around with our premier when she came to High Prairie, and we got to sort of re-emphasize some of those health issues and chat with him again. So we've got some of our health issues have been brought up a couple of times in the same week, and so that was good. We had the recreation meeting, and just some of the really quick highlights of that is they are starting. If you haven't noticed, they've started on the splash park and they're working away on that. They're anticipating probably with the weather that we're having, it'll be mid-July, they're hoping for. But, much the same for the pickleball courts. They're just waiting on getting the concrete contractor to come in and put the concrete down. Then they have to let it dry long enough. Then they'll come in and put on the surfacing. They got another company doing that. They were working on an agreement with, like we've got the one with Sucker Creek, but also with Peabody, or with Drift Boss, or Drift Ball they've got, and they're working on one with Sucker Creek. There's a few other, but that's in a nutshell. That's it. They've been doing lots out at JC Park. At the Northern Alberta Development, Northern Alberta Elected Leaders Meeting in Beaver Lodge. Some of the big highlights, they were talking in there that there's a big increase coming in police funding because one of the leaders that attended one of that police funding model changes. And they were talking about a 57% increase. I'm not, don't know if we, if that's coming or not, because they just mentioned that, but it's something scary. And as Councillor Martins just mentioned, that we had a presentation by Holly Hanfield, who's working with that new rural doctor training program out of Grand Prairie. They got 30 students starting in September. All of those students are rural. And in this particular case, I believe that 19 or 20 of them are from the north, with 10 coming from the south, rural south. So they're excited about that. Yeah, and one of the things that they were wondering is, you know, when they have those students, they would say, you know, if our attraction and retention committee would like to do a pizza night with them and have them come to High Prairie and get to see our town. And one of the doctors that was there said that's how he ended up in, I can't remember for sure where it was that, but maybe it was Barhead, something like that. He went there just as a student when he was doing his practicums, and felt that I love rural life. This is where I want to be. So he was born and raised in the city and realized he wanted to be a small rural doctor. And I mean, other than, the other thing, we toured a potential optometrist around High Prairie. They were looking at relocating from North Carolina. So hopefully they'll come here. They want to be a full-time one here. They seemed quite interested, but we'll see. And then, of course, the open houses. That's it, the regular meetings that we've all been at with museum and stuff. I'll move my report for information, but we'll take any questions people have. Councillor Stenhouse looks like she's chomping.
Yeah, do you have more information? You said funding for policing. Now, are you talking about the provincial police force or RCMP?
The province is talking of they put out a police funding model, and that's what they're talking about.
And they're adding more money to that.
They're charging more money, so like they're looking at a 57% increase in what we'd have to pay, is what I've been told. That's what they said in the meeting.
No, I thought it was funding we would get 57%.
Oh, no,
Funding for them, right, for them to receive.
And there is an online seminar coming up. I can't remember the date, but I was planning to attend that to learn more about it, because I don't really know much about it other than what one of the mayors had said at that event.
Yeah, because they keep promoting the provincial police force. And that's, I misunderstood. I thought it was more funding for us. That's it.
Okay, Councillor Wakefield.
The optometrists, are they looking at joining one of the existing places or doing their own
Yeah, the Acuity Eye Center.
candidates? The old idea. Really?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
The pizza night suggestion, was that Holly that is
Yeah.
going to do that?
Yeah.
Because I know she's moving well now.
Yeah, that's where she's gone.
And so what was the concept, like, how would you organize something like that? Is it, when is this Grand Prairie School?
They start in September of 2025. They've said anytime after that, contact her, and it would be. She just suggested it's a good opportunity to have them come down to the community and see it there.
Yeah, and Bethany works, like, I mean, she's taken over for Holly, right? So they, you know, she shared her notes and she's gonna attend our she's attended the last one in person, she'll attend the, upcoming one in person too. We're targeting the July, that second week in July. And we have to move it because we had a public engagement session last Monday, so we moved our infraction retention meeting to the weeks down the road. Okay, thank you.
All in favor? Carried. Councilor Stenos?
So as you know, I have no committees, but I have been quite active and attending on the 9th, met with, our newly appointed, Minister of Municipal Affairs, Dan Williams, here with a couple other members of council. On the 19th, attended Premier Smith's town hall. And later that evening, met with our MLA Scott Sinclair. And that's my verbal report.
You want to move it for information?
I'd like to move it for information.
Any questions? Councilor Stenos? All in favor? John, did you freeze up?
Yeah, yes.
Oh, you froze.
Is it on?
Are you still there, John? You're froze on our screen.
No, oh, here we go.
There,
good.
you're- Okay.
Step.
All right. Councilor Wakefield.
Some quick highlights, I guess. The library now has a code of conduct policy with consequences for people that contravene it as far as, behavior within the library. So it gives staff something to fall back on if some of the patrons are being sketchy. This library system, I don't have my notes here, many fans, but 1,000 pieces, that's where my notes are. Peace Library System met and everything seems to be working really well there. As well, something else. Now, last meeting, we were going to discuss opening up our campground for evacuees. Now, that seems to, that immediate risk seems to have passed. Knock on wood, hopefully it stays that way. But I think we should have a policy in place that cements it, that if you are from an evacuated community and it's pretty easy to prove residency, you know, that you can use our campground for free, right? It's not gonna put us out a whole bunch and I don't, you know, if Rocky Mountain House is on fire and you wanna come up here, or, right, like, and I know we've talked about this, but I don't think we have an actual policy on this. So I would like to see that as a policy where, you know, because what's gonna happen is they're gonna come up here and they'll have a place to stay, and then they're gonna be safe there and comfortable and spend money on our community and realize how awesome we are, and then buy a house here and just live here. Is the ultimate goal. But short term gives people who are evacuated a place to go, you know, park your RV, put a tent up, whatever they're doing. So I would like to see that item from the last meeting. I would like to see that come back to our next meeting. If I may. And that's, oh, Judy, you were asking about that rail committee meeting. I'm on that. I don't see any invites to meetings to that. I'm gonna dig into it a little bit because I've only been to one of those, well, 1.5. I caught half of a meeting on Zoom. It was half of a meeting on Zoom that notice showed up late on my email. So I'll dig into that a little bit and find out why I'm not getting notices of meetings. Maybe they only meet quarterly.
Because,
Yeah, I know, we pay money, we pay money to be part of that.
yeah.
Yeah, I know, and I'm like, well, where are these The first meeting was great, right? It was in Grand Prairie and they had the industry people there and all the towns and I think there was some government people there and it was really informative as to the way the supply and demand of rail cars and I learned a whole bunch about that. And I thought, wow, this is great and I think it's important. And then it just fell off the map for a lot of it. Now I know the folks around here, McSteel and West Fraser and probably Toco as well. I believe they are part of it and they do find value in it. And I think that having us there to advocate for them would be good, but they have to tell me when the damn meetings are. So that's my report. I'm gonna move that for information.
Councilor Martins?
I was just curious, I haven't seen Tracy of late, is the library experiencing displaced, like mischief or anything like that?
From time to time,
Are they?
often enough that it's like they wanted something in place so that they could say bye. Or-
During regular hours?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Councilor Banaka?
Just regarding your comments, James, about the campground for people who were evacuated.
Yes,
I think that, I'm not necessarily thinking that a bylaw or a policy needs to be in place. I think it's, as things arise. If there's a fire nearby and somebody's evacuated, then we can deal with that, because I think if you're gonna put it in a bylaw, what are you gonna do to the people that are already there?
well, I mean,
Are you gonna kick them out, saying,
no, you don't kick them out, but it's on a basically a first come, first served basis. And the problem with dealing with it on a case by case basis is we have a meeting today on Tuesday, our next meeting's in 2 weeks. A fire starts somewhere tomorrow and people need to be evacuated. You know, it'd be nice, and it doesn't have to be a bylaw, just a policy that if you are displaced by flooding, well, if you are displaced by a weather event and our campground is open with proof of residency, you can use our campground. David will write it better than I can say it.
all right,
But why couldn't a general email to all of us feel instead of drawing up a policy?
Because then it's a policy and you don't have to waste time with an email, it's done.
Okay, that's a different item that we can talk about later. Let's move on. We're just about out. Did you move your report?
Think so.
No, but we can on it.
Yeah, no, yeah. Okay, you're moving your,
I moved my report.
all in favor? Councilor Yashishin?
I'll make it fairly, quick or concise. I was at the ICF, meeting. It was really good communication and collaboration actually with our county folks. We went over, as was mentioned, the, agreement. So we were doing the agreement review. Yeah, just very productive meeting there. Some of the highlights was, discussion on FCSS, and working together there. I too was at the health attraction and retention. That goes back a little ways now. That meeting, I was trying to recall and I'm kind of looking on my phone, but it's such small print at this time of the night. I can't see exactly there, but some of my notes there, but basically another good meeting. It's always good to meet with that group there. There's lots going on, as we've heard, as well, so I won't go over anything there. What was already said. I think since the last meeting, I think I had mentioned or hadn't mentioned that we took a doctor and family round. I don't know if they've decided to, or if they're at that point of being able to decide to move to High Prairie. We took them out to the lake and around town. The family was very interested in the pool and some of those areas as well, especially the school also. So in my travels around and talking with folks, I met a nurse that's really new. We got talking. I was very curious whether she was from another community or the city or local, and actually she was her local here in the area. She had left the community, come back, taken her training, and now she's working. Very excited to be working in our hospital. So that was really great to hear. I too was at the museum meeting. That was really good, as I mentioned earlier. I hadn't been there for a little while, and it's just, it's always just great to see a lot of that local history that really says something about a community and where a community came from. So I always, I found that very good to hear from the museum and from the board and the ladies here that we heard tonight. And also too, just the public forums. I was at the crime in the budget. Great to communicate with the public and with people and be able to get the opportunity to talk one-on-one. And here's some of the things that maybe that we don't hear, you know, that we're missing. If there's a little bit, there's more communication we could be doing or getting things out more, as we already mentioned, or I already mentioned earlier. So I move my report for information unless there's any questions. Oh, went to the fairly late. Sorry.
I'm voting, that's all.
No questions? All in favor? Just before we leave, I just wanted to say I got invited by Chief Elcrow to the grand opening or the transfer of the NLC campus to the Capulino First Nations it's July 7th. Just,
Can you go?
yes, and I can go through
So
it.
what are they gonna do with that?
They're going to expand their high school. They're gonna, because they're in just one wing right now. And then they're also looking at growing a college there. So they're looking at what programs they're gonna run and have a First Nations college running there.
What day was that again?
July 7th in Greward.
Maybe a Monday.
Pipe ceremony at 9, grand entry at 10. Okay. Okay, we're back to our agenda really quick. We've got our timesheets. I'll make the motion that we receive our timesheets for information. Any questions on that? All in favor?
I have a question.
Oh, sorry, it was a question. Okay, go ahead. We vote.
Actually, this is your timesheet.
Okay.
What does MCCAC training? What is that?
Oh, right, I forgot. That is the Municipal Climate Change Action Committee.
Okay,
That it offers training on how climate change is coming and how it's going to impact communities.
okay.
So it's a training course and actually there's homework and everything else involved in it. It's yeah.
Okay, meet with High Prairie Branch Manager, RDC, is that for the transfer of the town stuff?
No, it was a meeting with the branch manager. He's new to town. He's been transferred in and this is going back into May. So that's how long it's been, but
Yeah,
he's relocated to town. He's looking, just wanted to meet me and say, there's something that he can do to help with the town, to be involved, or Royal Bank, to let him know.
oh, okay.
Keep staff there for more than 5 minutes.
What's the NADC?
Huh?
What acronym NADC?
Northern Alberta,
Oh, Northern Alberta Development Council.
Is that new council? Is that new committee?
Sorry, what are you looking at? Just
May 14th.
May 14th, okay.
It says recovery.
We don't understand what you're talking to us.
Why are you talking? May 14th, really quick, I'll take a look at that test. Oh, yeah, Northern Alberta Development Council meeting with recovery, not NADC, it should have been just Anka, it should have been Anka meeting with, and we met with Recovery Alberta,
Which is?
which is the mental health and addictions
Oh,
part.
yeah.
And, because they'd done that big study and we met with them, showed them the presentation that she did here, Jennifer did. And then, the various communities asked questions about what they can do for us. Yeah. That's all right.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, well, let's finish the vote on receiving these timesheets for information. All in favor? And meeting adjourned. Get to the closed session that we need to get to.
Can we set up a special meeting? Cause we've been trying to deal with this with David for a month now, and it's unfair to him to keep stringing this along to the next meeting. We run out of time, we're into the next meeting, where that one's canceled. It is really unfair to him to keep doing this. Can we set up a special meeting to deal with David's concerns and deal with it?
We absolutely can. And just a quick highlight, I know, I talked to him after our last meeting and he said that we could do it now. He was all right with talking about it today, but we thought we would get through it all today. That was the hope.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just stopping
So-
recording.
Now that we haven't gone through it, we need to come up with another plan.